Well, it seems the ticking clock for Unity has slowed right down almost to a stop. We will have to see where this goes. Unity's finally come out with a new plan, a new statement on what they're going to do for their install fee. Well, this got posted to Twitter and everywhere else on the Unity site. An open letter to our community. This is, these things are always great. This came out on a Friday afternoon when they knew that this would maybe be the best time to release statements so they can mull over it on the weekend. Before I get fully involved in this, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We've had amazing growth over this story. Thank you, every last one of them. We celebrated the 2,000 live streamer special last night, and it was amazing. Thank you, everyone that showed up for that. And thank you to everyone that does subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. We're growing, and that is absolutely gigantic of all of you to sit there and hit that subscribe button. Unity, I've read the statement. I've seen a couple others covering this topic, and the Unity situation is not over. It's nowhere close to over. It just seems that it's going to become a dull roar and probably a slow burn to the very end, and their number is coming. I don't see this company truly surviving too much longer after seeing all the stuff that happened behind the scenes with the executives possibly selling off a ton of stocks. I've heard numbers up to $20 million in stocks exchanged hands over this company, over the situation that they knew was going to cause a lot of backlash. So you have to ask yourself, why would you continue moving forward just to come back out with the statement here today? Keep that in mind here. Why this is such a thing that's going to be the new norm for Unity. To our community, I'm Mac Witten, and I led Unity Create, which includes the Unity engine and editor teams. I want to start with this. I am sorry.
I'm not going to go over all of the changes here. I'm sure we're going to talk about them a lot. I hope people had a chance to see my letter earlier today or to go through the back and the other stuff there. But I did just want to hit one part first that's really, really important. And that's just, I just want to say I'm sorry.
We should have spoken with more of you, and we should have incorporated more of your feedback before announcing the new runtime fee policy. So you let employees quit, you had them leave the company, you had several people reach out before you went out there and say, this is a bad idea, and you guys, the executives, turn around and have been selling stocks of Unity off for the last little while, knowing this was going to cause a backlash. So by you saying that you're sorry and should have spoken to more of you, how did that happen? How did this situation get to this point where it's suddenly we should have listened? Like, I don't get where this is truly coming from in the first place, considering everyone, it seems, told you guys from the get-go this was a bad idea, and it still is. Our goal with this policy is to ensure that we continue to support you today and tomorrow and keep deeply investing in our game engine. So what you're saying is your current model was making you go broke? How is that even possible? Didn't you set it up for success in the first place? This is coming from a company where the CEO of the company actually said for a Call of Duty game that maybe for EA they should be charging for an extra round of bullets in your gun so you can continue playing the game. There's two things here that don't align. You are what makes Unity great, and we know we need to listen and to work hard to earn your trust. We've heard your concerns, and we are making changes in the policy we announced to address them. Yes, all the devs work very hard for the games to run. Without the engine, they wouldn't have been making the games in the first place. So without the community here in the first place, there's no engine. There's nothing that this does. Our Unity personal plan will remain free, and there will be no runtime fee for games built on Unity Personal. We are increasing the cap to $100,000 to $200,000, and we will remove the requirement to use the Made with Unity splash screen. So they had a little thing in there saying that you had to have the splash screen anytime you loaded up the game. The splash screen would come up saying it was made in Unity, made from the free version of Unity, and you can make up to $100,000, and now they're increasing that to $200,000. That's a little tiny bit of a win. No game with less than $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue will be subject to the fee. The fee. It's now known as the fee. For those creators on Unity Pro and Unity Enterprise, we are also making changes based on your feedback. The runtime fee policy will only apply beginning with the next LTS version of Unity shipping in 2024 and beyond. Your games that are currently shipped and the projects you are currently working on will not be included unless you choose to upgrade them to the new version of Unity. This is probably one of the best things that I'm hearing out of this, is that they're not making it retroactive. It means all the older games that are already made with Unity, games that aren't being updated to the new version of Unity will not be subject to any of this other stuff. So things like Phasmophobia, things like Cult of the Lamb, those games can now exist under the original terms of service. So that is good. Keep the original terms. Everyone was happy with the original terms, so there's no reason for them to upgrade them, but this will be a backseat. I see a lot of retraction away from this engine, because if they're going to do this and move towards things in the future like this at a drop of the hat, I don't see anyone making new games out of Unity. I see now the games that are being made, like Phasmophobia, getting completed and moving along. And then if those devs decide to make a newer version of the game, they will turn around and make newer versions. Now, this also poses the question, at some point in our lifetime, the old version of Unity engine will not be useful or be able to be used in, say, Windows or in our games. The compatibility with the engine, the older engine to the newer engine, will not continue. Look at what happens with Apple devices in that sense. They have a natural obsolescence in them. I can't say that word properly, where the device will age to a point that it no longer will be able to be used or updated. So this is still not a great scenario for older games like Cult of the Lamb, but you looking at a much longer and a much slower burn to the game's survival. So the games are going to survive. They're going to be around for a long time, but at some point in the future, you probably will be forced to use a newer version of Unity for the games to continue to be working. That is the one takeaway here that I think a lot of people aren't seeing. When it comes to computer hardware, computer software, they're always updating it, and if you don't continually update, then you will get to a point where it will lag so far behind the game will not longer be usable in the current format. The drivers, everything just kind of falls off and it doesn't continue. This is the problem with the digital age, with a lot of games and a lot of technology. Things do fall off the rails at some point. We will make sure that you stay on the terms applicable to the version of the Unity editor you are using, as long as you keep that version. That's the key thing here, as long as you keep that version. At some point, you probably will be forced to upgrade and move on from that version, just because of the natural flow of data and the natural flow of creating devices. And it's just going to get to the point where you're going to be forced to upgrade. So this now this is turning out to, okay, can Unity survive the long game? And I don't think they will, because I think a lot of the abandonment is already there. The trust is already gone. It's dissolved. It's not going to survive in the current format. For games that are subject to a runtime fee, we are giving you the choice, might I say the illusion of choice, of either a 2.5% revenue share or the calculated amount based on the number of new people engaging with your game each month. Both of these numbers are self-reported from data you already have available. You will always be billed the lesser amount. Now, in Unity, there is the Unity ad share or ad revenue where it will tell you how much you're kind of making within the game, from my understanding. So now it sounds like Unity won't have access to that offline or online. I'm hearing rumors that the newer version of Unity will be forced to be always online, so you will always have to have an internet connection to have that. Geez, I wonder why that is. Is that because iron source of the data is being collected without your knowledge? Obviously, it's probably in their EULA, and you just have to read it very carefully to know that it's there, but they are gathering data on how much money you are making on these games. Like if you look at Steam, you can look at the top played and the top value games or the trending games, and it'll show you on the chart who's up and who's down. And that is one of the things that you can adjust. There's other sites out there, I think it's Steam Charts, BD, will also show you the revenue stream or how many players are playing the game currently. So there is other games or other sites out there that do this similar thing that Unity seems to have built into their engine. And I don't know if that's really that good of a thing. It's interesting. I'm pretty sure other engines have this similar thing, because Unreal charges a 5% fee above $1 million, and there's hoops that you jump through, and then you can get that down a little bit from my understanding. So you will always be billed the lesser amount. So you get the choice of either you shave off 2.5% of your revenue and give it to Unity, or you shave off the amount of new people engaging with you each month, whichever's lesser, but it's a choice. It's the illusion of choice at that point. Is it really something that's going to be good? I'm not entirely sure. Now, they also held a fireside chat on this. Obviously, that would have been something else to see. Yeah, we want to continue to build the best engine for creators. We truly love this industry, and you are the reason why. Geez, I wonder why these fireside chats or these chats from companies making bad decisions are all about the PR of these decisions, trying to get ahead of it, but not really, because it takes the backlash for them to be signaled at. So they also do have an FAQ. I'm gonna go over through the very quickly because I know this video is going on. So basically, if your game makes $1 million and has 1 million lifetime in total engagements over a 12-month basis, then the revenue has to be shaved off for Unity at 2.5%. On top of that, they also get into the initial engagements, because originally they called them installs, and apparently this was a confusing term to everyone else out there. When you install a game, as a game developer, as a gamer, as a consumer, you are clicking install the game, not download the game, not purchasing the game. That's not what an install is, and that is terminology that everyone understands. But once again, Unity tries to rewrite the book on it. When we first introduced the runtime fee policy, we used the term installs, which the community found to be unclear. So we were using the term initial engagement as a unit of measure. We define initial engagement to mean the moment that a distinct end user successfully and legitimately acquires, not pirated, downloads or engages with the game powered by Unity runtime for this first time in distribution channel. Now, there's a few things here that aren't going to be very clear. It's going to be if you have a game that shows up on the Epic Game Store or on Steam that is free to download. So say your game makes $1 million, then your game is free to download for a short time period, pushing you over the $1 million lifetime downloads, like we had with The Lost, I believe, by Moon Studios. Or from the Moon Studios. I covered that in the previous video. They have their game downloaded 7 million times, or not installed, just purchased 7 million times for free. Then did they make $1 million on that? That probably didn't happen. Epic gave them a chunk of money, and that was the initial version of it, how much they make off of it. So It's very difficult. This is going to change the rules a little bit on the free games that we see on like Epic Game Store or on Steam when games go free. It also, I don't know if this covers a demo or a free trial version of a game that we do see on Steam every once in a while, where you will have a free weekend where you will be able to play a game for free for the weekend. If it's a big name game, well, you're doing it for free. Is this actually adding to your revenue? Unless there's things to buy in the game, it's going to be very telling in that sense. This does tie back to revenue of the game instead of it just being a flat 20-cent fee for the installs. So that makes a lot more sense than what they were doing initially. Initially, it was anytime, like the installs, them clarifying the installs here, saying that it was anytime someone installed, download, or did anything to the game, but they do actually clarify here saying the first time in a distribution channel, so it's to your account. It's an interesting way to look at things. If you guys want to look more at this, look up Unity. It's out there. It's very easy to find. Thanks for watching. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix Cinder Shadow. I'm going to sign off here, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon.